Warning, warning, on this rare occurrence of an episode of Tips from the Top Floor, I will try to sell you stuff that I'm involved in, and we'll have a serious discussion about UFOs. This is Tips from the Top Floor, episode 900 for sometime in early August 2020.
Tips from the top floor, tips from the top, alright, from the top floor.
Hey, hello, welcome. This is Chris Marquardt. You're listening to Tips from the Top Floor, the longest running photography show on the planet. Right now, probably also one of the slower running ones. I know, it's about time. And I know I say this every episode, but thanks for being patient. And the first few of you that have already inquired if everything's okay, well, thanks for not forgetting about me. Things are okay, but at the same time, they aren't, of course. I mean, because of this huge change that we're all dealing with. And I know that all you creatives out there who make a living of in-person gigs, of photography that's in close physical proximity to others, I feel you. I'm in the same boat here. And that's why I wanted to give you a fair warning. I think I have a very interesting topic to talk about today. It's about UFOs. Maybe not the ones you think they are, but it is relevant. It is relevant for creatives, for photographers. It's not about conspiracy theories. It's a topic that I believe is of relevance to all of us. And all of you who but maybe think you're not that creative. It might help you to get a bit more creative. And then, here's a warning. I will also shamelessly use this very episode to try to sell you something. I want to promote a couple of things to you, but they are relevant. And they are not paid advertisements. Because they both involve myself. And they are both part of this whole thing that I do right now to help me deal with the pandemic. I mean, both in terms of being able to teach, because that's what I'm here for. The teaching is what I love doing, and to be honest, not really being able to teach is probably the most painful aspect of all this for me. So that's one thing. And of course, both of the things that I'll try to sell you on are ways for me to offset some of the financial impact that the pandemic has brought. And one of those things is PhotoSensei. I've been harping on about this, but I have a guest today to talk about some change in that field. And the other one is that my guest and I are teaming up to teach at the wonderful Out of Chicago Photo Workshop Conference very, very soon, end of August, 21st, I think. So look in your calendar. You might still have time to get a ticket. And then for that, I haven't, I have invited the mastermind behind the conference, Chris Smith, to talk about why this is interesting, why the conference is special, because it really is, and why you should think about joining. So that's the first thing. But let's talk about the main topic, UFOs. So the reason that it's been another several weeks for this episode to come out is that my mind is occupied with a lot of things. And the things I talk about here on the show, I want those things to matter to you. And as I'm not out and about that much right now, like most of us are, it just takes a bit longer for something to come along that matters. That matters to me and that matters to you. So I came across this topic of UFOs. And I think they matter to you because they do matter to me. Now, I'm not talking about flying saucers, which might exist, but I guess there are rarely aliens in them. No, the UFOs that I'm talking about are socks or scarves or sweaters Uh, okay, I hear you being puzzled. UFO is a term that I learned from Monica, and it's a term from knitting. And it stands for unfinished objects. And it's something that every knitter will know. You start a pair of socks and you run out of patience or out of time or out of inspiration. For whatever reason, you end up putting it to the side and you might start a new project. You have just created a UFO, an unfinished object. And it's sitting there. And maybe a few weeks or months or even years later, you get back to it and you continue where you left off, or you abandon it. That's always a possibility. And the thing that matters in the context of this episode is that I realize more and more how these strange times are shaping the future. And not just in a bad way. I mean, wear your mask, it will protect others, and it will help protect you. Our future is changing right now, big time. So a virus comes around and everything changes. Changes, for many of us, changes discomfort. And discomfort can make us curl up in a corner, or it can make us change something ourselves. Maybe the way we react, or maybe the way we think. And out of this change and this discomfort, for me came this whole shift to the production side of things. You're possibly looking at the video version of this right now. This has really been a dramatic change. It has the necessity has accelerated the change in a way that, I've not experienced that often in the past. And I want to give you another example of that. Again, another project I've talked about in the past, and that's the project that I've started after mid-March, and that's Pick One Photo, which is where I talk with photographers about 2 photos, and we discuss photos, and it's free, and it's at pickonephoto.com. I had a look, and I released that first video episode on May the 2nd, 2020. And I think for me, that kind of marks a turning point. It's almost exactly 6 weeks after everything came down, after my workshop and my travel business vaporized, and I finally realized that I needed to do something. But the truth is, that project was already there. Pick One Photo was over a year old at that point. I had the website ready. I had the concept. It was even online already. You could have gone at Christmas time. You could have gone to pickonephoto.com. You would have found the almost exact same website that you find today, minus all the videos on it. Had you known the address, you could have found it in May 2019. I just hadn't told anyone about it because the only thing that was missing was the content. The scaffolding was there. I've already put work into that. Even the photos were already there. The selection of photos, I haven't put any new photos up there. If you look, those photos are from May 2019 and before. There's no current photos on there. And then what? And then that's when I set up the first bunch of video recordings, when COVID hit. Not right away, but fairly soon. And that felt really good. Just the fact that I had done something. I didn't even know where this was going, right? Let me give it a try. And that was doing something creative. Because for say about 6 weeks, I couldn't. And it still doesn't come easy. I couldn't because I still have a hard time to concentrate on things. Because there's this barrage of stuff, of news, of bad news. So it doesn't come easy, but it's also a bit of a phoenix out of the ashes thing, right? It's that creative people can and should reinvent themselves over and over again to stay interesting, to be ready when things happen. So yeah, this is where we are. So this is about tinkering. People tell you to work goal-oriented all the time. And I think that is not always helpful. And I was looking if there was something that could be learned from how this went, because that's what I do here. I mean, I try to find out what can be learned from things and then let you in on it. But I think the one thing would be maybe that if an idea doesn't look that feasible at the time because you don't have time to execute on it, or because you don't think it might be a good idea, I think this is okay. Probably even important to have like half-finished projects lying around. If you looked around here, you'd see a whole bunch of half-finished stuff in some drawers and in some boxes and stuff. I think that's okay. I think it is even necessary for creative people. Things that you can pick up later. Do stuff until you lose interest in it. Do not always work goal-oriented. I remember having been told that I should finish things as a kid. Hey, not finishing things is a bad thing. That's what they tell you. But over and over in my life, it has turned out that tinkering with stuff without a preset goal, giving yourself permission to half-ass things. You know, times will change, and chances are that what you learned while tinkering, or what you've prepared while tinkering, even if you didn't finish it, that might come in handy one day. And looking at Pick One Photo, hey, this definitely came in handy. It was ripe for the picking, and with all the scaffolding in place, I could just polish it up a bit, ask some people if they wanted to be on the show, and now you have a whole bunch of discussions on pickonephoto.com. So UFOs are okay. There's nothing wrong with this. I'm giving you permission to have UFOs, to tinker with stuff aimlessly and even give up on stuff. But every time you do that, you are maybe creating something that you can use later, or you're at least learning new skills. So yeah, my conclusion is tinker more. It's okay to tinker and not finish things. It's okay to start projects and not follow through, but put them aside when you get bored or when you run out of time. It's okay. I would even say it's necessary. It's important to have stuff going on at once, different things. So yeah, Pick One Photo is just an example, but I think it's a good one because there are just a couple of weeks ago, I released 3 new episodes. If you haven't seen them, I invite you to do so. I've talked to Andrea Diener. She's a travel journalist, a good friend here in Germany. She's an editor. And in the episode, we talk about one of her photos from a really cold place. I've talked to my partner in crime, Valérie Jardin, who I'm doing PhotoSensei with, and the other thing that we'll talk about later. She's a street photographer, a book author. She's also a mentor on PhotoSensei, and we talk about one of her amazing street photos that she took in Berlin. And last but not least, I talked to Monica Andre. She's an author. She's a film photographer. She's a podcaster. She's also my partner in life. And she brought a great photo from Dire Dawa in Ethiopia. And that's an especially interesting discussion because, you know, with the others, they present me with a photo that I haven't seen before. With Monica, I know her photos. So she shows me a photo that I haven't seen before, and that creates its own dynamic. So I think that's worth watching over at pickonephoto.com. And yeah, each of these episodes is about half an hour long. They're all online for you to watch right now. And I would certainly love to hear what you think about this little project that's the result of me tinkering. So yeah, pickonephoto.com, my UFO that is finally an FO. So this is the time in the show where I introduce a guest, and I don't think I have to introduce her that much. Of course, I'm talking about Valérie Jardin. Bonjour, how are you today?
Bonjour. Good. How are you, Chris?
I'm great. I'm wonderful, especially since you and I have teamed up, and that's what we're going to talk about for a few seconds. So just a quick introduction in case there are still people out there who haven't heard about you, you're an author, you're a photographer, you do street photography, you shoot with one of the most limited sets of gear that I know.
Yeah.
I don't know many other photographers who are just out there with one camera, one lens. And you and I have teamed up for PhotoSensei. So
Awesome. Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited to get the first appointment.
welcome on board.
So who is it going to be?
That's I'm pretty sure people are gonna be piling up at the door trying to get an appointment. So I have already talked about PhotoSensei here on the previous episode, but that was mostly talk, and now we can also show, because if you're listening to this, I've already told you it's a video as well. So there's a link in the show notes to a YouTube video of this episode. And so I can do something like press a button and poof, we can see a web browser. So I'm very proud of this video stuff. PhotoSensei is a project, just to recap that for a second, is a project that has come out of the pandemic, pretty much, right? We can't really travel that much.
Some good things came out of it. See?
Oh, I'm very excited about this. We can't really travel that much anymore, at least for a while, and I still want to be in front of people. I still want to teach. I still want to hand off the stuff I know to others. And the same is true for you. So when you and I
That's
talked,
when I feel alive.
exactly. So when you and I talked a while ago, we were I showed you this, and you were like, "Oh, I want to be on board." So I got you on board, and I can't be more happy about this. So
I'm the gear minimalist on board for now.
Wonderful. I mean, this is really. I really like this because it is we complement each other on this platform so well that
Absolutely.
it's almost uncanny. So
It was a match meant to happen.
Yes, exactly. So as I show this on the video here, let's just have a quick look at the website and show people what they can do. And of course, most important is who's in the team. So let's go to the team. And right now, that's the two of us, you and me, as the mentors on the platform. I'm still planning to make this a bit bigger. So there are most likely more mentors going to come on board. But you and I were kind of the pioneers in this thing. And so it has all the information, including languages, because I've already had bookings from Germany, even though the website is still entirely in English. So people are like, "Hey, I know this guy. I know he speaks German, so let me book an appointment and talk about things." And if you go to the About page for the individual mentors, you will, of course, get an overview of what they do. There's ways to contact, so people can send you an email straight from here. Here's a link to your homepage. But then there's also your photography. So if people are interested in what your photography looks like, just to make sure, it's all here, of course. So to get a better picture. And then there's the type of things that you offer here on the platform. And talk us through what this vision thing is, because for let me say a bit more tech-minded people, that might be what does she mean with that? So what can people learn from you?
In La La Land?
Well, is it La La Land? Tell us.
No, but I think that first of all, a lot of photographers try everything, and they don't see that they have a strength in one genre versus another sometimes. So they try a lot of things, and then sometime if I look at a body of work, I will see something like, wow, this is really what you're good at. This is what your vision is. And sometimes they need a little boost. They need somebody from the outside to look in. So I can help people with that. It's also people want to develop a style, so they have to start somewhere. If they keep shooting, and it's great. I mean, I shoot pretty much anything that moves me, and I don't think you need to specialize. That's overrated, in my opinion. I think you need to continue to photograph everything that moves you in order to grow, and that's when your style will develop, anyways. But sometimes you just need a little bit of an outside look at the work. And also, people are so into gear that
yes.
I help them kind of take a breath, a deep breath, and say, okay, wait a minute. Do you really need all that gear? Do you really need that new camera? And so if they want to save money, they should make an appointment with me first.
That's totally fine. So you're actually hitting a very important point here, because when I look at my development, I think there is a picture, or I do take pictures that are somewhat recognizable. So I do have a style, I think. But of course, first of all, it's not really consistent because I shoot many different things. And the other thing is that, it kind of developed by itself, just by exactly doing what you said. Just stick with it, keep doing it, and listen to what's going on inside you. You will be the best. You will be best at the things that you like. So, that moves something in you. And
also, go ahead.
I would have really had a boost by someone like you earlier on, when I was still in this searching. And even if it's only someone to tell me that you can't really force it, you have to go through some of the motions here.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Yeah. And even when people shoot a lot of different types of photography, their personality will come through. Like, for example, I don't like busy, I don't like crowds. And so it shows not only in my street photography, but it definitely shows in the still life that I shoot too. I'm definitely more of a minimalist all around. So it's okay to follow your heart. It's about shooting with your heart more than, overthinking everything. So I'm going to try to get people to relax a little bit and follow their true vision.
Yeah, definitely. So, Valerie is on the platform. You can book her. Just go to the website and click on book now. That's the quickest way. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of sessions here. Let's just go over a few of these. So we're talking vision. Of course, critique is always interesting for people who don't really know if their photography is any good, or where they might have to tweak it to get to a certain point. And that's
the best way to learn.
Yes, it is. Giving critique is sometimes even better than receiving critique. Under the sessions here on the website, we have a little link for you to see who offers that. There is some overlap, of course, but I've tried to kind of sort this into the different things. There's a workflow tier. There's a tier on film photography.
Yeah, that's not me.
That's not you. The film photography is just so near and dear to my heart, and there's so many things I can offer on that. There's the street photography, of course, in general. Landscape photography, travel photography, architecture photography. These are all things that the two of us have, or some of those we have in overlap, some we don't. And again, look at the different areas of what I have to offer, and especially what Valerie has to offer. I like that your minimalism also comes through in your selection of topics, because you really limited it to 2-3 central things that you want to offer. And if you look at my page, I'm all over the place. So
no, but it's good, because there's I'm good at some things that but I would never, if somebody wants some tips about workflow, I could, but post-processing, my post-processing is so minimal. It's 5 seconds. So I'd be completely useless. But then that's why I opened a general Q&A session. Yes. If people can book me and just ask any question they want, whether it's about vision, it's about my workflow, which is simple, but still, and things like that. So that's kind of a more open, but the critique, that's definitely the best way to learn and improve. So that's why I really stuck to 3 different things, and what I feel most comfortable and where I know I can help people, because I've been doing that for about 10 years.
I totally like this. Oh, by the way, one thing that I just noticed that again, this platform has been started out of necessity, but it's turning into this project that is just a learning curve for me and for you. What I'm just learning is, looking at the bookings that I get, is that the majority of people book gifts for someone else. I've had
that's
2/3 of the bookings so far were gifts for someone, like someone has a photographer in their life and there's a birthday coming or something, and those are 2/3 of the bookings, which I did not expect at all. So I just want to put that out there.
That's awesome, because sometimes you get somebody just bought a trip to Paris as a birthday gift to someone. It's like, not everybody can do that, a week-long workshop in Paris, but most people can book a 1-hour session online. And so,
and in that case,
I think that's a great option.
people can even, when they book, they can even check a little box that says, I don't know what I really need, get in contact, send me an email, let me know. So that's what I do then with people. Or what we do with people, we just ask back, okay, what is important? What do you think? Let's figure this out together, and then have a very tailor-made session for the individual. So there we have it. PhotoSensei at sensei.photo, and put that in your web browser, sensei.photo. And by the way, sensei sounds a bit pretentious, but it's just teacher. That's just Japanese for teacher.
That's right.
That's all it is. So, Valérie, thank you so much for coming on board. I'm totally enjoying this. This is a great adventure for both of us, and hopefully for more photographers in the future. Again, I'm also asking people to join if they want to, or to at least send an email, and let's figure out if that's something that that will work for others as well. So, Valérie, thank you so much, and
Merci, thank you.
Until the next time.
I look forward to meeting some of you during a session.
All right.
Very soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Ciao.
All right. Thank you again, Valérie. And kind of as an almost seamless transition, here's the second guest for today. Let me try an introduction here. It all started with a blog about his travel adventures, and over time, it has evolved into Out of Chicago, which is an annual photo conference. It has spawned several destination conferences. There's Out of Moab, there's Out of Acadia. So let me welcome Chris Smith. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me on the show. I've been a long-time listener, first-time caller.
I hope I got this somewhat right, that introduction.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anything you'd like to add for those who have never heard of Out of Chicago?
Oh, man, yeah. I mean, we started doing our Out of Chicago conference in 2014, and it's grown, and we've started doing these destination ones in Yosemite, Acadia, Moab, and the point of that is kind of go to those places, so that you can learn and shoot in the same place. But now the world's a little different, and we did our first online conference in April, and you're going to be part of our next one coming up in just a couple of weeks here that we're really excited about.
Different for sure, yes. This is okay. So the reason this fits so well in here is because I've already talked with Valérie about the PhotoSensei project that we're doing together, and then she pretty much in the course of that, she asked me, would you like to teach with me at Out of Chicago? And so Out of Chicago, let me bring the website up just to give people an idea. I should probably have opened that. I'll have to cut that. It was open just a minute ago. It was open when it was just. It doesn't matter. Let me cut this out. Okay. So here's the website, outofchicago.com. Just before we continue going into details, let me just show that to you. So it's a live online photography workshop weekend, August 21st to 23rd. And then there's a second part a bit later, early September. And just let me click
if
one
you go
deeper
to,
in here.
Go to learn more, and this is the homepage for our entire site. But go to learn more, and it's all about the in-depth conference.
So here's the roster of instructors on that conference, and the list. I can keep scrolling forever. This list does not end. So and a lot of names that kind of I'm a bit in awe of. So how many instructors do you have for this conference?
We have just over 60 for this one, and like you're teaching with Valerie, every one of these instructors, we ask them to pair up with another instructor and to teach their class together. After we did our first online conference, and we just got rave reviews on it, and I was really worried. I was like, are people going to enjoy this? And is our energy that we have going to come across? And it all did, and people loved it. And all the best parts about doing it online, the fact that people can come from around the world, the fact that people can teach from around the world, like you and Valerie, I think, is going to be in France at the time, and that's what
saves on hotels.
Exactly. Well, it's exactly true. Yeah, and we would do these conferences. Where people would learn about landscape photography, but we're in Chicago and you really can't shoot that so much. Or we're in New York City and we're teaching flower photography and it's in this dark basement. It just doesn't really make sense. But when we want to teach these things and bring them all together, it makes sense to do it online. So our plan is to continue offering these, even if we can get back to the point where we're all in person and we can hug each other again and all that. We're still going to offer these online things because it's worked so well and people have really enjoyed it.
So this is not the first online event you do. So there's I would guess some learnings from the other one in there. So I would expect this to run very, very smooth.
Well, that was part of our plan. Not only was it this was genius on my part, that the only reason we have you on board is that Valerie asked you to do it. We asked our instructors that have taught with us a lot in the past, say, would you please invite somebody that you'll work well with and that you're friends with and bring them into the fold. So we've got so many new photographers like Guy Tall and Freeman Patterson and so many other names. We can go on and on that we've never worked with, and they're kind of my photography idols, and they've all come into the fold. But I think it will be really smooth because they're each teaching with someone that has taught online with us in the past, so they know how to do this.
Yeah, and the names on that list are just like the who's who. Which makes me feel very, very tiny.
You're one of the who's who. I love it. Yes, thank you very much for being part of it.
So that pairing up, I think that's a genius idea, to have two instructors do something together as a team and work on a topic together, because that is for me, that was slightly coming outside my comfort zone. There was how do you do that when you're used to standing in front of a class on your own, and then all of a sudden you have to weave in and out of each other? I think it's awesome. It's really, really awesome.
Yes.
And what are the things that you learned from the first conference?
So we got great feedback from the first conference. People really enjoyed it. Afterward, we did a big survey. There were three main things that people wanted. First off, they wanted it to be more in-depth, more advanced. And so that's why we're calling this Out of Chicago In-Depth. And so to do that, rather than everyone just doing these short, 60-minute presentations, kind of like the webinars you'd see kind of all over the place, we wanted to do something much deeper. And so we're having our instructors do a 4-hour deep dive into one topic. So you're teaching with Valerie. Of the 60 instructors, that means we have 30-plus sessions, and we're still adding a couple more. It's going to be crazy. There's like 5 different time slots. You do 1 Friday, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday, and for each one, there's like 5 or 6 things to pick. And sometimes people go, I can't watch all 5 of them at the same time. But the beauty of it is 2 parts. One, that of those 6 classes, if you're not into the flower photography, if you're not into the film and what you guys are doing with limitations, we'll talk about that too, then you take one of the other ones. You build your perfect schedule. And the second part to it is we record them all. And if you are part of the conference, then they're all available to you afterward to view.
So it is like a conference. You have several tracks going on at the same time, and then people can just just hop on the track that they want to be on and do the sessions.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And in the evening, we'll do some get-togethers. We'll do some social things. We'll make it fun. And we've got vendors. We've got prizes. We got all sorts of crazy stuff going on. So
that's nice.
So yeah. Different companies. I think we've got a couple lenses. We've got some other stuff. We got like Tamron, Sigma, a bunch of different companies all involved helping out, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what has to go into creating such an event. I mean, you must be pretty short on sleep right now.
Yes. Well, I don't know if we talked about this before, but when we opened registration, it completely crashed our server, and we had like an old website. So that night, once kind of the ticket sales slowed down, I'm like, all right, I'm going to get on there, and I am completely redoing the site. I reinstalled the whole thing, all new stuff, and I kind of wanted to do it for a really long time, but because everything was working so poorly, I had to go do it. And I was up till 5 a.m. that morning, and then back up again at 7 because we were putting it out again to people. So yes, it's a crazy thing. And this is all I do. I mean, lots of people do, I try and do a podcast every once in a while like you do, but I'm not like you. Lots of other people are doing their workshops and everything else, but it's like, no, I just put all my effort into this, and we've got a great team behind it that helps run it. So,
yeah. And I can attest to that. The communication with instructors is awesome. So I can only imagine this will be a very, very cool event coming up. Let's talk about the sessions. Let's talk
about yours.
Well,
you're teaching with Valerie. What are you guys teaching? Sorry, I'm leading this thing instead of you.
No worries. Let me actually bring that up. Here's the session that Valerie and I will teach. It's called Unleash the Power of Limitations from Digital to Film, and that session I think will be up on Sunday, if I'm correct, and it's about creativity and how that works through limitations, because I think we've all had this experience that reduction in one side can open up things on the other side, and Valerie is a wonderful example for that, because she shoots with one camera, one lens. She's really she doesn't carry around this big backpack full of gear, and I'm adding to in pretty much the same vein. I'm adding the film photography side to that, because that is another area where you just by the technology you will be run into some limitation. I've looked for a twist here, for an idea that that goes beyond what is normally taught in these things. And the thing that I think is really going to resonate is that this is about the order of decisions that you make in the workflow, in the process, and how that influences the outcome, and how that influences how you think about photography. I mean, a very simple example would be you have to decide pretty much at the beginning of the process what you want your photos to look like by choosing the film. So if you put a roll of black and white film in your camera, your world is black and white for the next 36 photos. So you have limited yourself, but that will in turn free up a lot of creativity later, because now you won't have to think about these things anymore. You have made the decision, and you can now, based on that decision, look at the world around you. And I mean, you can do these things with digital as well, but you always have in digital. You always have this little backdoor that you can maybe I want to make this a color photo. After all, that's just one simple example, but there's a whole bunch more that for me personally has changed the way I look at photography, and I'm pretty sure that that the students will get something out of it.
I'm super excited about it. I think that it's similar to like when you give yourself a challenge or whatever. If you put yourself out in the middle of the city and it's just like, go take pictures. Like, where do you even start? But if you say, I'm gonna shoot interesting looking doors, you're like, all right, now I got something. And it's kind of the same thing when you're like, all I got is black and white. I got 36 shots and that's it. And your brain is not just like, well, I got the whole world. No, this is all I've got to work with. And that puts you in a direction, and it also helps like develop themes and everything too while you're shooting that same way the whole time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that is kind of the session that Valerie and I will put together. again, this is unique. I've never taught this session, and that's also one of the things that the Chicago in Depth is about. That you want new stuff there, and everyone is going to bring things that people probably haven't really seen this way before.
Right. I mean, I can't remember if we said that or not, but like all these people that are like, oh, I've got like 5 presentations that I could give or whatever. Let me do one of those. It's like people want something new, and this is really bringing out the best in people. That 2 people are working together, and I feel kind of bad that
It's hard work. It is hard work.
I don't want to say too much about that, but yeah, people are like, oh man, we just were on Zoom for like 2-3 hours. I'm like, oh, I know, yeah, thank you. And people are really putting a lot of effort into making some very interesting classes here. So I'm excited about it.
And it's the list doesn't end. So I'm just scrolling through a few here in the video.
And we're still adding more. You know, the first thing people wanted was to go more in depth. The second thing was they wanted all new stuff. So these instructors are creating presentations that they've never done before. And the third thing was people wanted some time to shoot. And it's like, well, how do we give people time to shoot? We're like, okay, let's have them teach in the morning. Then you get 3 hours to go run outside and go shoot, and then we'll go over them. It's like, that's not really going to work. And as we thought about it, we said, well, what if we had that first weekend, and it's August 21st through the 23rd, so in a couple weeks here, what if that's where we teach something new? Then we give them like 10 days to go shoot, and then they come back and we're going to go over the images together, kind of as a group, all together, and see what we've learned, what was a struggle, and what did we get out of this that we would have never had before. So it's kind of the full learning cycle, right? For that full cycle, you need to have learn something new, go try it, and then get feedback on what you did. And so we're trying to create that whole thing. And so every one of these classes will get back with those instructors, and we'll go over images from the group of people that shot them. So I'm excited to see how that goes.
So it's almost like a 2-week event if you count all the time.
It is. And the other thing I was kind of thinking is when we did the first one, everyone was so into it and so engaged, and we've got a whole community set up where people can come in and comment, and then people are like, oh, I love this idea that I learned, in Photoshop. I just tried it, and people are commenting on it. It's kind of like you're on Facebook, yet there's no political posts at all. And so, and so everyone's all passionate about the same thing, and it's just about photography and the camaraderie that we have around photography all in there. But then after that event got over, it kind of like people stopped coming, and so this gives us it's the first weekend, then everyone's going to be in there together while we're shooting, and then we'll come up and we'll kind of wrap the whole thing up. And so the instructors will be in there doing some help during that week and a half or whatever it is, but it's not like something that is going to keep going on forever. But I'm excited to have everyone, working really hard during that time between the learning and the review.
It's just the concept is really well thought out. I mean, I've held online classes, and exactly the problem that you just talked about, the structure of the day and how that whole thing works together, so people that it doesn't turn into a logistical nightmare, because that is very easy to happen, and especially online. Yes. So when you're not out there
our first one. We had over 150 sessions. It was crazy because every instructor was doing like 3 different things, and then we'd have like 4 instructors coming in for a panel discussion. Then we had these, and I said, this is not only a great idea because they'll do a 4-hour deep dive into one topic, but it means there's only like 30 or 40 total sessions like that we have to wrangle together. There were times in that first one, and we're going to do it again next April. Actually, it was crazy, but people loved it. That we called Out of Chicago Live. There were times we had over 15 sessions at the same time, and so to organize all those Zoom webinars, it was a little something. But it unbelievably, it went off without a hitch, and people loved it. So so I'm excited to see how this one goes too.
Well, me too. This is pretty awesome. So let me just bring up the date again to make sure everyone knows about it. August 21st to the 23rd is the first part, and then from the 24th to September the 2nd is the go out and shoot, get out and get your camera and get your feet wet, and then starting on September the 3rd, it's the Epic Group Image Reviews. Image reviews. I like that term.
I think it's the 2nd and 3rd. We ended up adding a day. I'm not sure if that's on your thing or not, but yeah. So that's So it's like Friday afternoon we start, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and then you got tons of time to shoot, and then we come back and review.
And as a goodie, just to make this a bit sweeter for everyone, here's a promo code. Code Chris will get you $50 off. And I'd love to see some of the listeners and some of the viewers over there. That's definitely going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I told you, I've listened to this show for a really, really long time. It's been an awesome part of my photography upbringing. Like from when I started doing photography, I was listening to this. I mean, you have been around for so long and been carrying this on. It's unbelievable. And you've got a great audience. And that's the fun part, is just to bring in people from these different audiences and get them all together and get some different perspectives on things. Yet, like I said, we all have that common passion for photography. So you're listening that are into photography and also like that social aspect and want to get out and shoot and get some reviews, it's going to be a great weekend. So yeah, the whole thing, it's for all of it, including the reviews and everything else, it's one price. It's $400, and you can use that code for $50 off.
And that's a bargain. That's definitely a great deal. So, Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show. Everyone go to outofchicago.com, sign up for In-Depth, and use promo code Chris to get $50 off. And take care and see you soon.
That's exactly right. Thank you, Chris.
And that was it for this episode of Tips from the Top Floor. That, if you're watching the video, you can see was shot over several days and a haircut. Thank you so much for joining in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And above all, thanks for being patient. I would like to thank all of the supporters out there on Patreon and in other places. I feel like I've let you down a bit by being so infrequent with the episodes. I'm working on making that better in the future, but thanks for hanging in there. Maybe in the meantime, you might want to check out a few of the other things I do. There's The Future of Photography, which is not just a podcast, it's also in video, and like this episode or like this show. For the German speakers among you, there's Happy Shooting, same as a podcast and video. And of course, there's Curiously Polar for all of those of you who might be interested in the Arctic and in Antarctic affairs. Anyways, thanks for hanging in there. You're awesome. Also, thanks Valerie for teaming up with me on Sensei Photo. Just the other week, I've had some really great sessions with some of you on there. So hello again. One about general improvement in composition workflow. The other one was on film photography with a 25-year-old. How cool is that? I mean, this still blows me away that there are digital natives who like to learn about film photography. It's just so amazing, and that's the kind of stuff I really love doing. And yeah, the whole PhotoSensei thing is turning into a great and pretty convenient for both sides replacement for face-to-face workshops. So again, check it out at sensei.photo. And thanks again to Chris Smith for getting me on board at Out of Chicago. Again, check that out at outofchicago.com. The event starts on August the 21st, and there's still time to get on board. You'll get $50 off if you use code Chris on registration. And that's at outofchicago.com. I'd love to see you there. Music for the show by Jeff Smith, sign partner and HP Gagarud Publishing, and Slack challenges by Release Pixie, Matt Rafster, Armstead. Slack game. Oh, and next Slack challenge next week. I'll do my best, but should be around that time. Slack invitations by Chief Invitation Officer CIO Rusty Russ. The link to get on the Slack is in the show notes, and I can't wait to say hi over there. So join the TFTTF Slack. My name is Chris Marquardt. You'll find me on social media at Chris MarQuardt. Go out and take amazing photos, share them with the world. Be nice to each other, and happy shooting.